In the modern game, it's not about positions, it's about the spaces on the field and the spaces that you want to utilize.
So, Tobin, Roberto, Zubi, we're here today after our TSG meeting where we've been discussing a lot of the themes that we've observed during the group stage and also the round of 16. And I think for all of us, it's been a really interesting tournament, the first time for us really analysing the club game. And now looking into what to expect for the quarterfinals, into the semi-finals and the final. Tobin, I'm really interested just to know from your perspective, something that's really stood out from the first matches that we've seen.
Yeah, I think we're kind of looking at the trends that are really modernizing the game, and we've looked a lot at the use of the fullbacks in this tournament, and we see the elite level teams almost utilizing the fullbacks in what I would say a joker type way, meaning it gives the teams the most tactical flexibility, because we've seen some of the top teams using their fullbacks in 10 positions, in the 6th position, in the winger position. And this, to me, is the evolution of the most sophisticated teams, as we see PSG, as we see Man City, all these teams, especially when we look at PSG, which obviously very popular team right now coming off the Champions League. But the way that they utilize their fullbacks, we'll see in this clip. The ball starts obviously here with Vitinha, but Nuno Mendes in this is just, look at his positioning here, even his starting positioning. Obviously his 6 drops in like a fullback. He now goes into a position into the midfield. And just the flexibility and the awareness. He's moving his positioning off of Vitinha here into the space. And this is why it's like a joker position, because it makes it impossible for the defenders to know like who's going where, who do I pick up. And Mendes here, you're going to see him utilize the entirety of the pitch. It's almost like the fullback has complete control over where they want to go, and the rest of the team obviously fills in position. So I say right now in the modern game, it's not about positions. It's about the spaces on the field and the spaces that you want to utilize. And we see a position here as a fullback, but it's not about being in the line alongside the center backs. Look at this, driving the ball like a 10 here, like a 10. It's fantastic. He's halfway across the field in the front of the box, and obviously a fantastic opportunity. But we did this is the modern game. We haven't seen this, but now we're starting to see more and more of this use of the fullbacks in very creative, very dynamic, very tactically flexible ways. But you have to get the balance right. If the fullback goes, another player falls into the line. Like great interplay between Vitinha and then Mendes, and then obviously into the 10 position, and the way that the front 5, the 5 positions in the front, all fill in various roles. It makes it very, very interesting for the other team to know how to defend the situation.
And we've got another great clip here with Chelsea, who played Cucurella in a really advanced position. Can you talk us through what we see here?
Yeah, Cucurella, another very sophisticated fullback in just the type of ways that the team wants to build up, utilize him, occupying sometimes not to get the ball, right? Obviously narrowing the defenders in this position. So also we have to assume, obviously we saw Mendes with the ball, driving with the ball in occupying spaces, but sometimes it's just to occupy a player to maybe create more space for the wingers out wide. But Cucurella giving the defense a nightmare, moving into different positions, central area positions. Obviously, we even saw him making a ton of runs in behind the back line. This is a fullback, a fullback. I think it's hard to even know exactly what positions these players are playing at times, because again, I think we're moving out of positions into spaces, occupying areas on the field that are less traditional for a fullback.
And Roberto, when a fullback comes inside like this, how hard is it for the defending team to manage those rotations?
I think you're stopping the opposition to have triggers, and you're stopping the opposition to get good synchronization defensively, because all of a sudden a left back that shouldn't be there is the one that is occupying the space. Here in this picture is fascinating how disciplined Chelsea are possession-based team. They got 5 players attacking. Cucurella, it just gets into the number 10 position. It's very difficult to understand how to occupy this space. And I think that what makes it very difficult to defend is all of a sudden you're surprised. When you want to react, it's a defensive action that you're reacting to rather than being anticipating it. And that makes a whole difference.
And Tobin, just looking at the data here, we can see in comparison to World Cup 2022, fullbacks are receiving in those inside channels a lot more than we saw 3 years ago. And I think this really backs up what you've been saying about the different roles fullbacks are playing in a team.
Yeah, and then I also think it emphasizes, that a lot of these teams are building out of a 3-back. We're seeing teams build out a 3-4-3. So obviously these numbers look significantly different. But I think the key thing to emphasize in this is the use of the fullbacks to build out, but then also the use of the fullbacks in attacking positions. This is a trend that these numbers like are only going up. And obviously when a fullback plays in an inside channel, there's more options. The fullback can play wide, can play inside, and there's more variability. It's a lot harder to defend a player that's in an inside channel than it is to defend a player wide. Because obviously wide, pressure pocket, trigger, you have the sideline, but in an inside channel, there's so much more freedom. You have 360 degrees that you can play with the ball.
And Roberto, what's really stood out for you in this tournament so far?
Many aspects. Obviously, I wanted to highlight one, which is a little bit the work of Hilal. When we speak about set pieces, everything, the attention goes to the corners, wide free kicks. Here I'm going to show the most intricate and the most powerful set piece that Hilal has, and it's the goal kick. Here you can see it is against Real Madrid. It's just the starting position. You see one centre half outside the box. It's only Bono. And is the usage of Milinković-Savić. Obviously, the relationship between the coach and him, that goes back a lot of years at Lazio. But it's a player that he can allow the set play of the goal kick to be a short one or a long one. Here, the centre half is the one that is going to give the ball to Bono, and Bono, the goalkeeper, will be the player that executes the long pass. As you see here, Milinković-Savić is the fourth player. So we got 3 fixed players, and Milinković-Savić will pick which fullback he wants to go. And the team is really well set up for that pass that is going to be from Bono. So the centre half will play the ball to left-footed goalkeeper. Really good execution is always the choice of having the keeper who executes a difficult pass. And then from here, now is a numerical advantage in the wide area, 2v1 against a fullback. Milinković-Savić, a player that he can hold the ball, he can flick the ball, and then he can run with it, and it gives one of the best chances early on. So a wonderful way how to see it. Then the next aspect is the variation. So the variation is now they can use the centre halves out in the box, the ball goes to the fullback. The fullback, as we see in the clip, is the one that's going to execute the short pass. Now Milinković-Savić, instead of us waiting the long ball, is going to come deep centrally in behind the 2 sixes, and he can receive a great ball from João Cancelo. A wonderful way to use a lot of work on set piece, but from a goal kick, and using, sometimes it's the fullback, sometimes it's the centre half, sometimes the goalkeeper executing the difficult pass, everything around the decision of Milinković-Savić.
And you spoke there about the variance and the goalkeeper not always taking the ball long, not always taking the ball short, but being able to work differently at different moments of the game. Tobin, as somebody who's done a lot of pressing, how hard is it when you can't predict what the goalkeeper is going to do and you have to be prepared for both the short pass and the long pass?
Oh, it's so tough. I think especially when you're a pressing team, you want a team to go short to build out of the back. Like the easiest way we've seen teams that traditionally like to play short out of the back in goal kicks, they've felt the pressure of these teams that are just pressing monsters and they're so coordinated. And a lot of times we see them try a few times and say, no, this is becoming way too dangerous. We say them play over the back. I actually really liked Flamengo and their formation and the way that they were able to have the flexibility between playing short, which is what they like to do. They build very composed out of the back, to then being able to play long. And what I liked in particular about that is the structure remained the same between when they play short and long. So for the players, you don't have the trigger of, okay, get up and in, we're going to play long. So you have that indecision of how are they going to play. Those small amounts of indecision, especially in pressing teams, you don't want indecision in pressing, that it will kill any press. You want instinct and reaction. And for me, that was a really cool way to have tactical flexibility in going short or going long. And obviously having the personnel like a Savić to be able to hold up the play was phenomenal and was a key result in a lot of these circumstances.
So now this it becomes a very strong point for Hilal's play, a strength that even as an opposition team you have to decide, should we press high or should we let him have it? In short, because we've seen the games against Real Madrid, that became a big source of creating chances against Salzburg. They did the same against Pachuca. He's doing the same. If I would be the coach of Fluminense now, I would be thinking, can we really afford to commit players forward to try to press them high when really they could hurt us? And probably it's a moment that you have to just drop quickly into your middle block and allow them just to get rid of what's a very well worked aspect of Al Hilal's play. So I don't know if we're going to see any of the goal kicks against Fluminense, but I think it's going to bring a question to how Fluminense are going to approach a game against Al Hilal.
And from the coaching side, it's of course a big problem if you have an opponent with a goalkeeper who is able to play different balls out. He's good to play short out. Bono is a fantastic example. He is able also to play short out of the back. He can play a ball into, like we've seen before. He can also play a ball very long. And this variation to do against your team, then it can hurt you really, as you mentioned before. And this will be very tricky and very interesting to see.
And Zubi, we've seen a great example there of a goalkeeper distribution ultimately leading to an attempted goal. This is a trend that we've observed throughout the tournament, and you've been really impressed with the distribution of goalkeepers and their involvement in the build-up play of teams and leading to attempts at goal in particular.
Oh, that was great to see on this tournament, the different style of the goalkeepers, how they play out of the back. Even a few years ago, you remember very well, or I remember very well, that the goalkeeper started only to be the extra player out of the back, the little passes out of the back. The opponent can only press high, and the goalkeepers are not even able to play, or forbidden almost to play a long ball. But this thing, I think this is a new trend, that the goalkeepers are also able, only with one step, to play the ball 60 meters or behind the defending. And here we see a very good clip from Williams. He was very involved in the build-up for Sundowns. And you see his technique now. You see his technique, how he played the ball. 2 meters from the ground, he played this ball into. Fantastic. And you see, like this, they overload the midfield straight away, counter-attacking, and like this, creating chances. And to see this, that the goalkeeper are so important also in possession to start and to make the right decision on the right moment, it's fantastic.
But that's not a long ball, isn't it, Zubi? And that's, I think, the new aspect of the goal. This is a long pass.
This is a long pass, yeah, but
it's not a long ball that we always associate a long ball from a goalkeeper. It's like you get him to release the pressure and you're playing the ball, and it's a divided ball. This is not a divided ball, it's a long pass. So now the focus is that the keeper should be able to execute and decide a long pass, which is a big part of the team.
Correct. And here also we see from the goalkeeper from Urawa, they are using his goalkeeper also very much. You see, he's offering himself all the time. The opponent makes pressure here, high pressure on the goalkeeper, high pressure, and he have now the right passing, the right overview where I have to bring the ball in, and then the vertical game, and you are out, and you create a chance into the box. And here a penalty for Urawa, and this started by the goalkeeper's decision. Or this, what I mentioned before, Ederson, one step, long ball to Haaland. Okay, we can talk about the opponent. They need to be closer maybe here, but like this, Foden scored and the goal. Started by the decision making from Ederson, who is able to play this nice long ball, laces ball, what is great to see. And here you see the involvements in sequences ending in attempted goal here on this Club World Cup 101, and here before 2022 on the World Cup 82, and ending by a goal 20-17. This is an improving, and I like to see this. As you know, goalkeepers are for me anyway the most important on the field. Okay.